Have you ever felt the sting of jealousy? That gnawing feeling when you see someone else succeed while you struggle to make progress? What if I told you that the way you handle jealousy could transform your life based on a philosophy practiced by one of history's greatest minds? Today, we're diving into something that everyone faces, but few talk about: jealousy. We all experience it, whether it's seeing a friend get a promotion, a peer accomplish something you desire, or just witnessing someone's success on social media. But what if we could deal with jealousy in a healthier way? In a way that not only protects our peace, but actually enhances our personal growth. In this video, we'll explore how the Stoic philosophy, especially the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius, can help us overcome these destructive feelings and transform them into opportunities for personal development. Stay with me as we break down what jealousy really is, why it hurts us, and how to handle it like a Stoic. Section 1. Understanding jealousy. Why do we feel it? First, let's take a step back. What is jealousy? On a surface level, it's the feeling that arises when we perceive that someone else has something we lack, whether it's wealth, status, or relationships. At its core, jealousy stems from our insecurities and fears about not measuring up. But Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, taught us to look inward. He encouraged us to reflect on our emotions and their true source. In his meditations, he said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." This insight tells us that jealousy often arises from an unchecked comparison to others. Think about it. How many times have you looked at someone else and thought they have it all together? Why don't I? But the truth is, this is a trap. It distracts us from our own path and gives others' lives more power over us than they deserve. Real-world example. Imagine you're at work and a colleague gets a promotion you were aiming for. You might feel jealous, right? But if you stop and ask yourself, is this promotion truly a reflection of my worth? Or is it just a moment in someone else's journey? You begin to shift the perspective from jealousy to a more constructive mindset. Section 2. The Stoic response to jealousy, transforming negative energy. So, how do we stop jealousy from controlling us? The Stoics had a powerful strategy: reframing. They encouraged us to ask ourselves whether the thing we're jealous of is within our control. Marcus Aurelius himself wrote, "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more in imagination than in reality." When you feel jealous, pause. Ask yourself, what's actually in my control here? Can I change the situation? Oftentimes, the answer is no. But here's the powerful part. That means you're free from the weight of comparison. You don't need to measure your success against someone else's, because their journey is theirs and yours is yours. Let's take another example: social media. How often do we scroll through our feeds, feeling worse about ourselves because others seem to be living perfect lives? Marcus would tell you to remind yourself that social media is full of curated images, not complete realities. Jealousy arises when we forget that we're comparing our behind the scenes with someone else's highlight reel. Section 3. The role of self-improvement in overcoming jealousy. Next, let's talk about self-improvement. Instead of focusing on others, the Stoics encouraged us to focus on becoming the best version of ourselves. Instead of feeling jealous of someone's success, we can ask, what steps can I take to move forward in my own life? How can I improve today? Marcus Aurelius practiced self-reflection, and in his meditations, he would review his own actions, goals, and mindset. If he faced envy or jealousy, he'd remind himself that personal growth is about progress, not perfection. The point is, when you're dedicated to your own development, the success of others becomes less of a threat. You can celebrate their victories because they don't take anything away from you. Real-world example. Think about a time when you set a personal goal, whether it was learning a new skill, improving your fitness, or growing a business. When you focus on those small, incremental steps toward your own growth, jealousy fades. You become too focused on your own journey to worry about someone else's. Section 4. Contrasting perspectives. Should you ever feel jealous? Now, let's look at a contrasting view. Some might argue that jealousy can be a motivator. After all, doesn't it push us to work harder, be better, or strive for success? It's true. Sometimes a little envy can spark us to take action. But there's a fine line between using jealousy as motivation and letting it consume us. Marcus Aurelius would likely argue that true motivation comes from within, not from comparing yourself to others. His philosophy teaches us to be inspired by the idea of improving ourselves, not by what others have achieved. So, while jealousy might fuel action in the short term, the Stoic approach encourages sustainable growth rooted in self-reflection, not comparison. Section 5. The Stoic practice of detachment, letting go of attachments. One of the key principles in Stoicism is detachment, learning to let go of our attachment to things, outcomes, and even people. When it comes to jealousy, attachment plays a central role. We often become jealous because we are too attached to the idea of having something that someone else possesses, whether it's their success, material possessions, or lifestyle. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on the impermanence of things. He reminded himself that everything is transient and that nothing in this life is truly ours to hold on to. In his meditations, he wrote, "What is not good for the swarm is not good for the bee." In other words, what doesn't align with your path or your true nature should not disturb you. This principle teaches us that the source of jealousy is often our attachment to external validation. If you find yourself envious of someone's achievements, ask yourself, why am I attached to this outcome? Does this possession, status, or recognition add value to my life in a meaningful way? Letting go of this attachment does not mean giving up on your goals. It simply means releasing the need for others' validation or success to determine your worth. By embracing this practice, jealousy becomes less about the other person's success and more about your internal peace. Section 6. The importance of perspective, seeing the bigger picture. Another core concept in Stoicism is perspective, learning to view the world objectively and understanding that our own perception of events is often skewed. When we feel jealous, our perception is often limited. We see someone else's success and assume that it diminishes our own value or potential. Marcus Aurelius taught that we should view events from a higher perspective, not letting the small details cloud our judgment. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." What he meant is that jealousy often comes from a narrow view of the world. We see only the surface, the apparent success of another person, but fail to understand the struggles, sacrifices, and hardships that went into their achievements. By stepping back and gaining perspective, we realize that everyone's journey is unique, and no one's success is a reflection of our own inadequacies. Real-world example. Think of a time when you envied someone's career or lifestyle. Now, reflect on what you didn't see behind the scenes, perhaps their hard work, personal sacrifices, or struggles. Seeing the bigger picture allows us to break free from jealousy and instead recognize that their path is separate from ours. Section 7. Focusing on internal growth, measuring success by personal progress. One of the fundamental Stoic ideas is that success should be measured by internal growth rather than external accomplishments. In today's world, we are constantly told to measure our success against the success of others. This comparison breeds jealousy because it gives others the power to define our worth. Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself that true success comes from within. He wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." In essence, your growth is not determined by the number of things you achieve or the recognition you receive from others, but by your own self-improvement, wisdom, and emotional resilience. Instead of comparing yourself to others, focus on how you are evolving. Are you becoming more patient, disciplined, and kind? Are you learning from your failures and becoming more resilient? These are the measures that truly matter, and they put the power back in your hands. Real-world example. Rather than comparing yourself to someone who seems to have it all together, focus on your own progress. If you're learning a new skill or improving your health, celebrate those small wins. Remember, the true measure of success is the distance you've covered on your own path, not how far someone else has traveled. Section 8. The power of gratitude, shifting focus from what you lack to what you have. A powerful antidote to jealousy is gratitude. When we feel envious, we focus on what we lack, which reinforces negative emotions. Gratitude, on the other hand, shifts our focus to the abundance already present in our lives. Marcus Aurelius practiced gratitude by recognizing that life itself is a gift, even in the face of hardship. He wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love." This mindset helps us appreciate what we already have instead of coveting what others possess. By regularly practicing gratitude, we shift our mindset from scarcity to abundance. We start to see that there's more than enough success, love, and joy to go around. Others' achievements no longer feel like a threat because we recognize that their success does not take away from our own potential. Real-world example. Try this every time you feel jealous. Take a moment to reflect on the things in your life that you are thankful for, whether it's your health, your relationships, or even the small things, like a warm cup of coffee in the morning. This simple practice can transform your perspective and quiet the jealous thoughts. Section 9. The role of virtue, building character over external rewards. Finally, let's talk about the Stoic focus on virtue. For the Stoics, living a virtuous life was the ultimate goal, virtue being the pursuit of wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. When we're caught up in jealousy, we're often chasing external rewards that don't align with our true nature. Marcus Aurelius taught that the most valuable thing we can cultivate is our character. He wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." Instead of focusing on what others have or don't have, the Stoic path teaches us to focus on becoming the best version of ourselves, living with integrity, acting with kindness, and working with purpose. When we focus on building character and embodying virtues, we stop measuring ourselves by external success or failure. We begin to measure ourselves by our own actions, values, and principles. This removes the need for comparison because we are focused on the internal, not the external, real-world example. Think about a time when you acted with integrity or kindness, even when it wasn't the easiest choice. These moments are what build your character, and they make you less susceptible to feelings of jealousy. When you commit to your virtues, you create a life that's true to yourself, free from the comparisons that breed jealousy. As we've explored today, jealousy is a natural human emotion, but it doesn't have to control us. By adopting the Stoic principles of detachment, perspective, internal growth, gratitude, and virtue, we can transform jealousy into an opportunity for self-improvement. Marcus Aurelius taught us that true success comes not from external validation, but from inner peace and growth. So, next time you feel the pang of jealousy, use it as a prompt to reflect on your own path. Shift your focus from what others have to what you can control: your thoughts, your actions, and your growth. What do you think? Have you experienced the destructive power of jealousy in your life? How have you used Stoic wisdom to overcome it? Share your thoughts in the comments, and if you found this video helpful, be sure to like and subscribe for more content on living a Stoic life. Thanks for watching.